Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. You may have noticed lighting has changed a little bit. I'm moving stuff around in the little studio space that I have here now while I'm working on the basement. We'll get things, it might be this way for a while. It is what it is. But what we do have here is obviously miners today were up pretty nicely. Bitcoin was down nonetheless after some tweets from China and from Trump as well. So that feud is still going on there. We also have a lot of news stories to talk about. We have BTDR providing a production update. There's a lot of updates in that one. We have Bitfarms news, we have IREN news, and TeraWulf news as well. Then we also have price targets from analysts on Cleanspark and IREN to talk about as well. And I think that's it. Some other news stories on Bitcoin, things like that. We'll get through all of it as always. But you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for entertainment, only do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin today and the miners as well. Like I said, miners had, for the most part, had a great day. Some, not all, but some. Let's go here. This is where I wanted to go. All right, so Bitcoin today. Another red day here. We were down much lower than we ended up at today, which was obviously based on the tweets or X posts from China and from President Trump there as well. So that feud is continuing to go here, but Bitcoin was down 1.91% here, was down $2,206, closed at $113,068. Roughly, we did have a low of $109,945 and 86 cents there, so it wasn't as low as we have been here on Friday, which is nice, but we bounced back off of that. I mean, it is what it is. Markets were kind of mixed today as well. Bitcoin's down a little bit on the new day as well for Thursday, or yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, Wednesday. So it's down a little bit here, 0.26% right now as it is, not too bad. Dow Jones was up a little bit here, NASDAQ was down, S&P was down. The Russell, which was up, which is good for the miners here, that bode well. Ethereum here for today was also down, similar to Bitcoin, down 2.79%. And then the miners here still continue to rally, even though Bitcoin being down here. Well, why are they rallying? It's because they're going for HPCI. That's the main reason why they're. Bitfarms was up 9.28% there after getting to $6.20. Ben Gagnon, CEO of Bitfarms, is keeping his word. He's going to be joining another space with Kamasutra and others in there as well. So that's awesome to see. That's coming up, I think, next week. I posted an X post on that for you guys to follow it as well. I'll be listening for sure on that one. That's going to be awesome to hear, see what they're planning on doing there going forward. BitTDR was down a little bit today, 1.61% after having a pretty volatile day. A lot of these guys did. At times, a lot of these guys were in the red today, but a lot of them also were able to finish out in the green, which is nice. Kango is down 0.23%. Cypher up another 2.7%, another 52-week high for them today. Cleanspark was up nicely as well today, getting up to 968. That one might have a 52-week high as well, I think. Yeah, I would say that is a 52-week high. Got to 2268, like I said. So that's good. CORZ was down a little bit, 1.41%. Hive had an okay day. It was up 2.37. Hut 8 was up 1.7. IREN was up nicely as well, 8.45 after reaching a new high of $72.30. We got some obviously new price targets for that one. One of those price targets may need to be updated here shortly. We'll see. Mara got to 9.88% on the upside here today. Got to 22.98, which was nice to see. That one is also getting a new probably 52-week high. Last time it was up this range was back in actually December. So we're pretty close. Was actually close at December. Let me see here. Yeah, December. So possibly a 52-week high, possibly not, but still got to 22.98, which is nice. Riot was up 2.26% today. Wolf was up nicely, 10.43% today. Got to $16.19. This should be like a 52-week high on that one for sure. And we obviously have some massive news for them also for today. The Bitcoin holding companies here, MicroStrategy was down 4.69% following Bitcoin. Bitcoin was down. This one was down as well. Right? These guys are not performing that well this time around from what they did last year, at least MicroStrategy. Galaxy was up 4.92%. Block was up 1.15%. Coin was down 4.3%. Metaplan was down 4.1%. Exodus was down 2.9%. Nexon was down 1.2%. Semler was down 2.4%. Phoenix was down 8.9%. GameStop here was down 1.6%. Small miners, let me see here. Small miners mixed today. We had any down being just a little bit, 0.01%. Argo was down 2.02%. Digi was up 3.09%. DMG was up 8.97%. So that one had a pretty good day. Nice bounce there. Mawson was up 13.36%. And Canon continuing to have a really nice second day of rally here, up 18.42%. The Bitcoin miner ETFs, another good day here. BitQ was up 2.2%. BKCH was up 4.65, getting to a new high as well, $120. DAP was up a little bit at 1.33%. WGMI getting to a new high as well today, up 4.81%. So those were great. Ethereum holding companies, BMNR was down 6.91%. BitDigital was actually up 3.25%. BTCS was down 10.39%. Game was down 0.06%. SBET was down 3.04%. These guys are not doing that well. So I'm happy to report I did get into Game when the frenzy was going on here. If you guys recall, got into it in the morning and got out of it by the afternoon. Just saw what craziness was happening here. I'm like, these things are not going to do well. And sure enough, it kind of worked out that way to my advantage. So I got out of that one relatively quickly, and happy I've done that. Other miners or other things that we track here, American Bitcoin was down 4.48%. FIG, that's one I'm tracking. Wi-Fi was down 3.81%. Open was up 5.09% there. Oracle was down 2.93%. Nebius was down 5.4%. Soluna was up huge again, 23.45% there. It seems to be kind of trading in a little bit of a range right now, it seems like. Backed was up 19.4%, and then Fermi was down 1.4%. This is obviously the new one that we're kind of tracking as well here. Miners here in after hours, let's take a look at how they're doing right now. I think somewhere in the green, somewhere in the red. Let me refresh these as we go. So BitDeer Technologies is up 6.91% in the after hours. I think it's based on their operation update for September. There's a lot of good news for them in that one. Next here we got Bitfarms. Let's see where Bitfarms is at right now. 1.87%. It's at $6 right now. Cypher, I'll refresh that as well. Is up 1.77%. Cleanspark here is up 2.59 to 22.55 right now. CORZ Scientific takes a while to load. Even though I got gigabit speed, sometimes these things just take a while to load. I think it's more on Yahoo than anything else. 1.27% for CORZ Scientific being up. Hive, let's see where that one comes in at. Is up just a little bit, 0.14%. Hut 8 is right now up 2.07%. IREN, let's see what that one's coming in at. Come on, load. Up 3.15%. We're at 71.75. Mara, as well as up 0.75% roughly. Oh, 0.58% there. Riot is up 0.5 percentage point, and TeraWulf is up or down. Let's see where that one ends up at. Is up 1.75%. So TeraWulf had a great day today, and then Soluna Holdings, our last one that we check here, is actually not loading. Okay, come on, Yahoo. There we go. Oh, it's actually, wow. Okay, Soluna Holdings for some reason is up 18.28% here in the after hours. Okay, that one is pretty freaking volatile right now as it is. All right, that's it for those. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here for the month of October. We're down 8.82% on the month. So October is null and void so far until we get further news from the CEO there of Bitcoin. See what the heck's going to happen there. The one good news that I did here is that person or that entity that shorted Bitcoin here recently has started to close their position. So maybe we are done going down. Maybe. We'll see. All right, on that one. Bitcoin ETF inflows here for the last day here. We had IBIT buying in. Everybody else was selling out though, so we did have a negative 326 million inflow or outflows. And then today we have a positive 133 million. We'll see where BlackRock comes in. IBIT at that point as well. Also, Papa Powell spoke today, right? So he sounded pretty dovish there. I think the markets kind of liked what he was saying there because the markets did react to it and we're actually going up. We still have a 95.7% chance of a rate cut happening in October, which is nice. It's a little bit lower than we had it at 98 something, but it's still a pretty good signal there for us for rate cuts happening here. So that should be okay there. And then let's get into some of the stories that we do have on Bitcoin here and the miners as well. This is from the I can never pronounce this. Kobaisi letter. I think that's how you say it. Breaking China urges the U.S. to correct wrongdoing regarding President Trump's 100% tariffs and says it will fight until the end. In other words, September, step 9 of our tariff playbook is on the horizon here. Yeah, it's back and forth, you know, on between these two countries right now. Unfortunately, and we're in the middle of it, kind of like children in a divorce, right? So it's never a good sign there. It will work itself out. It will get worked out eventually. It's going to be, you know, tit for tat on this until it gets worked out. Next here, this is from Documenting Sailor. M2 money supply is going parabolic. Bitcoin 250,000 incoming. This is based on, obviously, if you follow Bitcoin and the M2 supply here. We can see it on this chart here. Bitcoin has historically followed it pretty well. It's usually offset by about 100. Oh, this is offset by 80 days here. So we've seen other ones that are offset by 100 some days as well. And they do follow M2 supply, or Bitcoin follows M2 supply pretty nicely. If that is going to be obviously the case here, with M2 supply going up much higher here, then yeah, Bitcoin could, and it should, in theory, if the trend continues here, catch back up here to the M2 money supply here eventually. So that's good news there. Next here we got Cleanspark, another analyst. This is from Ernest Hamilton. Cleanspark analyst raises their price target for Cleanspark from $17 to $25. I mean, they're pretty close to that as well. The company's early infrastructure investments and power expertise position it to replicate past successes, with AI HPC projects expected to provide more stable, scalable revenue over time. And that is obviously the case for not only them, but everybody else that's getting into HPC AI here. All the analysts are synchronized in belief that Taylor Monick and team can branch out from BTC to HPC AI. And then Gary Vecchiarelli and Matthew Schultz will carve out HPC stream in their income statement and scale business by multiples, all while continues to receive more stacks of coins for the digital asset trading desk there. So this is from B. Riley. So that's nice. They may have to raise that up again here because they're getting close to $25 already as it is. Next year, IREN's got two of them here. So IREN BTIG raises price target to $75 from $32. They're a little behind the ball here. They should have probably raised that up to like over $100 here because we're almost at $75 as it is right now. But nonetheless, this is good news. They still have a buy rating on the stock there. We have this from Mike Alfred as well. Breaking Cantor Fitzgerald raises IREN price target to $100. Now this is more like it, right? So this is great news there as well. IREN does obviously have more room to run here, which is great for us, especially, well, hopefully you guys are still holding IREN here. I know there have been quite a few of you guys that have sold out at times at different price points. No shame in taking profits at that point. I do not blame you guys at all. We just never know where things are going to go. And luckily enough, I have not sold anything in IREN or any other companies that I own right now. I'm holding strong. You can say diamond hands. You could say I like these stocks. So I'm holding on to them for a little bit longer here. We'll see how much more we can run on these guys here. I think there is obviously some more upside with these guys, IREN especially, Cypher, even Cleanspark, Bitfarms as well. All of these guys are getting re-rated on the potential for their HPCI potential there, which is really, really, really nice to see here. And it's probably creating a lot of millionaires here in the space right now as it is. I think, I'm not going to say for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that, some of the people that have been with me for a long time have turned, a nice chunk of change into possibly a couple $1 million. So that's awesome to see. And I'm happy for you guys. Actually overjoyed. I wish you guys many, many, many more successes on the path forward as we continue to watch this and see how this all plays out here. But I'm loving it though. All right, that's it on that one. Let's get into some of the big, massive updates that we do have here on these guys here. First one's going to be BitDR. So BitDR announced a September 2025 production and operations update here. There's a lot to cover here on this one, so buckle in, grab some popcorn. We'll get through it though. Operational update here. So 452 Bitcoin mined, an increase of 20.5% from August due to higher average self-mining hash rate from energization of seal miners. They now have 35 exahash deployed, on track to reach 40 exahash at the end of October. After October, BitDR will continue to deploying seal miner rigs for self-mining and concurrently begin retiring all third-party older generation rigs to further enhance profitability and fleet efficiency. So that's great to hear there as well. Some mining updates here on the rig manufacturing part of theirs. SealMiner 2, a total of 34.2 exahash in mining rigs have been manufactured. Of those 34.2, they had, looks like, external sales of only 6.1 exahash, so not a lot, but still quite a bit there. Self-mining, obviously they added 22.6 here to the US, Tidal, Norway, and Jagmaling, Bhutan, including 4.6 exahash in September. They still have 5.5 exahash of mining rigs are in transit to BitDR sites in Norway and Bhutan as well. SealMiner A3 launched in September. The A3 series includes 4 models. You got 2 air-cooled models and 2 hydro-cooling models there as well. You can see those efficiencies and rates there. SealMiner A4, planning 2 different chips designs. The first Seal 04 chip tape-out was completed in September and are currently under testing. Initial results from the early samples demonstrated sub 10 joules per terahash power efficiency at the chip level, though still above the 5 joules target that they were targeting there. So hopefully the Seal, the second design there, will, yield fruit there for them. And they say that here, I think the CL04 with the new architecture is still expected to reach a target chip level efficiency of 5 joules per terahash. So that's great news as well. All right, this is the interesting part here. HPC AI, excuse me. As of September, BitDeer allowed its letter of intent with its development partner to expire in order to significantly expand its direct role in the HPC AI data center market. In conjunction, BitDeer has initiated design and layout planning for Clarington, Ohio site. The new data center will be suitable for Bitcoin mining, with core infrastructure designed from the start to enable easy conversion into an AI data center with redundancy and other critical design elements to ensure flexibility and scalability, which is kind of great to see that. Kind of similar path of IREN, I guess. Actively recruiting U.S.-based in-house experts across multiple AI data center disciplines, so they are looking to hire people on. HPC priority means Clarington, Ohio, where the local utility has confirmed that the full 570 megawatts will be available by the end of Q3 2026, nearly a year earlier than prior expectations. Teams are targeting substation energization in the first half of 2027 there. So it's still quite a ways out, right? But that's kind of one of the things we've always talked about BitDeer is they have a lot of growth happening, but it's mostly going to be in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 and into 2027 there as well. BitDeer also plans to convert its 175 megawatt Tidal Phase 2 site into an AI data center with expected completion date of Q4 2026, a year out basically. This site is expected to support 164 megawatts of key IT load after applying various security redundancy considerations. During the conversion process, mining operations will be minimally impacted, as Tidal Phase 2 design had already incorporated potential conversion from Bitcoin mining to AI data center. The capital expenditure required for this conversion will be significantly lower than the average cost of construction or constructing a new data center in the US or Norway. So that's good. Also, BitDeer is also working on converting its Wenatchee 13 megawatt site into an AI data center with modular data center technology. So that's good. And BitDeer is also sourcing data center resources in Southeast Asia, either through rental arrangements or self-built facilities. By the end of 2026, BitDeer expects to operate more than 200 megawatts of IT load dedicated to AI computing, the majority of which will be owned by BitDeer. BitDeer plans to pursue two business models in parallel or in conjunction: co-location services and AI factory operations. AI factory operations, what do they mean? Similar to IREN, right? IREN's doing their own customer-based AI. They put in the GPUs, the servers, things like that, and then they get customers for it directly. So similar at that point, which is awesome to see there. BitDeer sees sustained imbalance between the growing demand and limited supply of AI computing power and expects it to extend through 2027. In the most optimistic scenario, BitDeer plans to acquire GPUs for cloud deployment and convert the entire 200 megawatt of IT load into an AI factory, potentially generating an annualized revenue run rate exceeding $2 billion at the end of 2026. Right, IREN's right now annual run rate for next year is going to be about 500 million. If they go out and get some more GPUs, we could be seeing them getting closer to that rate as well. But they will be getting there in 2026 sometime, whereas BitDeer will be getting there in sometime after 2026, end of 2026. Okay. Well, we're obviously seeing a huge demand there as well, and we're seeing the AI factory term being used a heck of a lot more here recently, after the CEO of NVIDIA was the one that coined that phrase early on. BitDeer AI, BitDeer's NeoCloud business reached US 8 million AI cloud annual run rate in September from providing GPU cloud services, with significant growth expected in the remaining 3 months of 2025. Cloud services has reached 584 GPUs as of September 2025, of which 501 GPUs are undersubscribed with a utilization rate of 86%. The unutilized GPUs are B200 GPUs, which were newly installed at the end of September and are being tested by customers. BitDeer anticipates full deployment of 1,160 GPUs by year end. Okay, so that's still a far cry from where IREN is going to be possibly at with 23,000 GPUs there. BitDeer is concurrently securing procurement agreements for NVIDIA's next generation GB300s and B300 system, which is awesome to see as well. So they're going the same path as IREN is, which is, we've obviously seen what IREN has done in the stock price here. They're looking to emulate that as well. And that's awesome to see. I think these guys will be able to, well, we've seen it obviously this year for them to execute quite nicely on Bitcoin mining and growing their hash rate there. But these guys are, probably one of the next ones I would probably think about investing in. Yes, in the past I have been reluctant to invest in them because they have some ties potentially with China there. But seeing what I'm seeing here, this would possibly be the next one, and I'm definitely seeing a lot more recently within the last couple of weeks on my Discord server channel, where the members there are talking about BitDeer and getting into it as well, which is obviously some of you guys have gotten into it at much better prices. Congrats to you guys there, being early to it. So awesome to see that. I think, like I said, this would be probably like my number 5, probably the number 5 list right now as it is. All right, going down here, proprietary hash rate. This is for the Bitcoin mining side of things, 35 exahash there. Bitcoin mined 452. Bitcoin held right now is 2,029. So a nice little increase there from where they were a month prior. And then you guys can read the rest of the stuff. I mean, they provide so much useful information, which is really, really nice of them to provide all this information as far as where they are in all these sites and everything else, as far as build outs and everything else. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them on BitDeer. BitDeer has about 196 million shares outstanding right now. Price performance wise, it's done okay here in the last 12 weeks. It hasn't run as hard as some of the other miners, but it's doing okay. It's up 21% from 12 weeks ago, up 33% from 8 weeks ago, up 8% from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were actually down 8.4%. Right, current hash rate 35 exahash. Future hash rate that we know of that they're going to be installing to was 45 exahash right now, but that could obviously go up in value there as they continue to build out their own ASICs there. Bitcoin HODL is 2029. That's valued about 230 million there. That is only about 5.82% of their market cap there as it is, and each share is about $1.17 there. Bitcoin production, you can see a nice ramp up here ever since the low in March of February 110. So after February, we started to increase their Bitcoin production here, and it's been a quite nice increase, very nice increase actually. So you can see that revenues also followed at that time, getting to 51.5 million here. Bitcoin HODL has also steadily increased over time since November of last year, which is also good to see. Hash rate, obviously 35 exahash. They installed about 5 exahash roughly, more or less, and Bitcoin sold was 357 here. Definitely more than they have sold here in the past. But they're obviously pursuing all these other things that they got going on, so which is fine. Bitcoin per exahash efficiency got to 12.9, which is actually pretty good for them. They did mine a lot more days in the month here. Institution-wise here, institutions did increase to 192, but we still have the same amount of shares owned by them. It's 47.6 million shares. Percentage-wise, it went down to 29.98. I'm guessing that might be because of dilution there a little bit. But we do now have 10 strong buy ratings, 2 buy ratings. Price targets actually increased to $40 for the high. Average went up to $24.97, and the low stayed the same at $17 here. For the month, like I said, they mined approximately 51,154,000 roughly. I installed some of their newer machines there and got them to approximately 29.36 days mining here in the month of September, which is actually really good, all things considered. So that would be a nice improvement there, unless they got those newer machines installed much earlier, which we don't know. But I always give the miners at least, on average 20 days of mining on the newer stuff. All right, so there's that. That's how it worked out for it. Going up here, where do I have them right now? Well, based on the information we do have here for September, times 12 months of revenues on that, I got them between 23.40 and 35.10, which is kind of in line with some of the, maybe a little bit lower than the higher end, with the analyst expectations here of $40 and $25 roughly. So we're in line with that, I think. On it, they are at right now $20.12. So I still think they're slightly undervalued from where they really should be here on that one. All right, but yeah, it's awesome to see how they are progressing. We talked about them for the past 2 years, and last year we were talking about them that they were going to have a heck of a lot more growth here happening in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 and beyond as well. And that is exactly what we're seeing here. So I think as the growth continues to go for them, the stock price will obviously go up as a result of that. And if they get into more HPCI business, become a neo cloud similar to IREN, that should help out there as well. So I am turning bullish on BitDeer here. Okay. That's it for them. Let's get into some of the other stories that we do have here, which is from Bitfarms, IREN, and TeraWulf here. So Bitfarms announces the retirement of Jeff Lucas, Chief Financial Officer, and the appointment of Jonathan Mir, or is it Mur? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so if I'm butchering it, I do apologize, as the successor there. So today they announced the appointment of Jonathan Mir as Chief Financial Officer, effective October 27th, 2025. Bitfarms' current CFO, Jeff Lucas, will be retiring and will remain on as a strategic financial advisor and consultant to the company through Q1 of 2026 to ensure a smooth transition. So that is great to see there. Jonathan Mir is a global financial and strategic executive with more than 25 years of capital markets experience in energy infrastructure. Jonathan spent most of his career at Lazard Inc., where he served as head of North American Power, Energy, and Infrastructure. Most recently, Jonathan was a managing director in Bank of America's Natural Resources and Energy Transition Group. Jonathan's multi-decade expertise in public and private equity and debt financings for major infrastructure companies and projects will prove invaluable as the company executes on its transition to a North American HPC infrastructure company. At Bitfarms, he will employ his extensive financial and capital markets expertise to help drive the company's HPC infrastructure projects and its North American pivot from Bitfarms, New York's City office there. All right, so that's awesome. Obviously, this guy's got the chops to lead them there. And, one by one, Bitfarms and company and Ben Gagnon, the CEO there, are doing all the right things to position Bitfarms in a winning strategy, I believe. So this is great to see. Mr. Jeff Lucas there has done a fantastic job for him over the last couple of years. So thank you to him for, it wasn't easy. He had a hard time. He had a hard job, right? The stock getting below $1, being at 70 cents, almost 60 cents at one point this year. The takeover of, from Riot trying to take over Bitfarms, and then also the takeover that they bought out Stronghold there. He's done a fantastic job for him in the last 4 years. So kudos to that, and greatly appreciate his work there as well. All right, so that's it on Bitfarms. So that's great news there. IREN here. IREN closes 1 billion convertible notes offering. I was a little bit surprised by this, to be honest with you guys. I thought they were going to upsize this to like 1.3, 1.5 billion, but they kept it at the 1 billion that they pretty much laid out for. So key details of this transaction are oversubscribed 875 million offering plus the fully exercised 125 million green shoe. Net proceeds were approximately 979 million. 0% coupon, 42.5 conversion premium. No put option for investors in the notes, other than the customary put right in the case of certain fundamental changes. Capped call transactions entered into connection with the notes, which are generally expected to provide a hedge upon conversions up to initial cap price of $120.18, which represents 100% premium as compared to the 42.5 conversion premium under the notes. Citigroup Global Markets Inc. and Goldman Sachs and Company LLC acted as active book runners there. So great news there. So the only thing I'm going to say is, Mr. Roberts, when will we get news on more GPUs being bought? That's the only thing I'm looking forward to now is another update on more GPUs being purchased here. So we'll see when that happens. Right on that one, it's going to be awesome to see that. Probably pump the stock even more at that point. That's my thoughts on it. Could be wrong. All right, so that's awesome news from IREN there. They have the capital that they need to grow even more here. And TeraWulf has just rewritten all their agreements here, it looks like, with the current convertible note offering that they're asking for. So this is the largest that we have seen here from these guys, from anybody actually in the space. So today they announced that its wholly owned subsidiary Wolf Compute LLC intends to offer, subject to market conditions and other factors, $3.2 billion aggregate principal amount of senior secured notes due 2030 here. We'll see, if they get all that plus some. So Wolf Compute intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to finance a portion of its data center expansion at its Lake Mariner campus in Barker, New York, the data center expansion. The notes will be fully and unconditionally guaranteed by Wolf's Compute subsidiaries, La Lupa Data LLC, Aquila Data Holdings LLC, and Aquila Data LLC, collectively guarantors there. Man, come up with some easier names. Those names are pretty hard. So we will see what they actually get on that, but that is huge for them. If they can get the $3.2 billion, that's going to be a nice chunk of change for them to be able to build out their data centers going forward there. And obviously the market liked the news today because TeraWulf was up nicely as well today. So congrats to those guys. And yeah, it's getting interesting here. We'll probably start seeing some of these, much higher senior secured notes being offered potentially going forward as well from a lot of these other guys here. If they're able to pull it off, others will do the same thing. All right, so that's it. Overall, pretty good day. Nonetheless, Bitcoin was down, but miners were still up, so we're still in the green. We're still, raking in good proceeds there, or at least increasing our portfolios, which is nice. But yeah, let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say, and we'll call it a quits here after that. All right, as always, if you guys could, and be so kind, preface the questions with a question mark or a Q. I do appreciate that as always, and if you can be patient, it's going to take me a little while to go through all the comments and questions and everything else. I'm going to scroll up as always and work my way down here. All right, SK asks, any reason Soluna and Canon running lately? Canon had some good update here recently on gosh, we talked about it yesterday. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we talked about it yesterday. So Luna, I'm not sure on them. There's a lot of hype around them right now, of possibly where they could be, right? Like I always say, be cautious with Soluna there just a little bit. SK Hill said, when do you plan to first trim Bitfarms or Cypher? Both looks so bullish for 2025 and 2026 and beyond. Yeah, I'm not planning to sell anything right now. Currently, I'm holding and evaluating. Pretty much evaluating every single day as far as what's going on in the markets, what's going on with them, right? We're keeping a very, very close eye on these things, see where they're going to go. All right, let's see here. Guy says, I was about to sell my Cleanspark today, but I realized that Cleanspark can easily still 2x from here this year. Awesome. All right, HB question, what are your opinions on Soluna and Can? Been following them for a bit, but noticed they have been picking up steam on X. Yeah, we're definitely seeing more people talking about them. Canon, let me see if we can find this for Canon here. Canon came out with something yesterday, I think it was. Let me see, where's Canon really quick. Canon, here we go. Let me see, there was news. Okay. All right, so here's what we got for Canon here really quick. So this is 15 hours ago. Canon is maintained at a buy by Rosenblatt. Canon price target maintained with an $8 per share target by BTIG. That was also yesterday. Canon shares, or maybe even today. Canon shares jumped 40% as miners turned flared gas into power amid Bitcoin. So those are the things pumping Canon there right now, which is helping the stock out there. As far as Soluna here, let's see, where do I have those guys at? Right here. Let's see if there's any news update from them here. This is really no news on them. So they're just kind of running up on, well, I've said this here in the past. I'll say it again, right? The market cap that they have right now, let's take a look at their market cap really quick. I'm pretty sure it's still going to be under 100 million here, I think. Their market cap, okay, it's actually more than that. It's 178 million. So they're under sub 200 million market cap right now as it is. It is quite easy to manipulate the shares there, right? There's not a lot of shares. Free float is only 50 million shares. So it's easy to manipulate that stock. The thing with them is they are growing quite nicely here. Right? John Belazier has taken over as CEO here in the last year and a half to 2 years. And I think it's John. They're saying John here. But they're doing a lot of these kind of projects with support from outside partners as well, partnerships, right? And that's tough to figure out what's going on with those things quite truly. So like I said, be careful with this one. They could do very, very well, or they could, implode. I don't think they're going to implode, but they're doing much better than they were doing just a couple years ago, which is nice to see, at least at that point. All right. So kind of like one of those lottery tickets. Buy a little bit and see where it goes. All right, let's go back here to Q&A part. All right, talked about that one. Let's see here. Guy asks, what's your price target for Cleanspark this year? Looks strong. I think we can get to, between $30 and $40 on that one, somewhere around there, depending on the news that comes out, and depending on what they provide us with information on their HPCI potential. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. Let's see. I think he said, yeah, $30 to $40, $30 to $35, somewhere around there, I think would be fair. All right. A-Run, hi Seb, when Mara deal? What Mara deal? As far as HPCI, that's probably going to be, well, never say never. They might surprise us, but we don't have anything right now for them at least. All right, Guy, why BTC is down and miners in green, specifically Cleanspark? HPC, well, Bitcoin being green is because I think that's tied to the feud that's going on between the United States and China right now on tariffs and rare earth minerals. And the miners are running for the most part because of HPCI potential. Yeah. Yep. Aaron says, yeah, HPCI, that's the reason why. Historically, we would see, miners, if Bitcoin being down a couple percentage points, miners would be down 5, 10, 15%, something like that. So we would definitely be seeing that. We're not seeing that this time around. It's based on HPCI. All right. Let's see. Guy asked, will BTC hit 103,000 in October? I mean, we got close to that, right? What did we get to, 125,000 or something like that? We were off 5,000, and then we had the tweets happening. We got 10 days. What do we got? A little bit more than that, like 15 days left in the month here. We might, but we just need some calm in X-Post, I guess you could say. All right. Let's see. Brad says, congrats on your success, Seb. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And congrats to everyone here that has been with the miners for a long time, and they're reaping the rewards right now, which is great. All right. Guy, what's your price target for October? Did we talk about that one already? For October, I think we can get, $25 to $30 on that one. If we break past the $24, which might be resistance, which are the convertible notes when they get exercised, I think, or there's some dilution happening there, right around there. If we get past that, we can go to like 25. All right. Rock Javs question: if all the miners doing HPCI, is this the 4-year cycle finished? We can hold stocks for the next few years. That is the potential there, right? If they start generating revenue that is substantially, or at least equal to what they're getting in Bitcoin right now, or more, then yeah, you can probably forget the miners dipping with Bitcoin here. Going forward, if Bitcoin does dip, which I don't think it will. I think we're just going to be in an extended cycle here. I've been seeing that for the last, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it's been, that the cycle looks completely different just from fundamentals of what's going on with the charts of Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin's acting in general, all the adoption, everything else. But we'll see. Tom, a little bit late. Any news on HUT? That was crazy today. I didn't see anything on HUT. Or at least, maybe I missed something here. Let me see. On HUT 8, let me pull it up here really quick on my chart, see if there's any news for them. Breaking. We have an update for them as well on price targets, it looks like. Let me see your browser. Right, so HUT 8 is maintained a buy at BTIG. And that was the only thing that happened here that I can see on, today at least. Let's go back. All right, Gary. Can you review how much each miner is up from April lows and from cycle lows at the end of 2022? You have to love the power of compounding on gains. IREN and Cypher are flying. Yeah, I mean, let me see. I don't have it updated here for you guys. Let me see here, but that would be under let me see, where is it at? Enterprise stock performance here. So we can kind of quickly maybe look at it here. This is from, all right, you wanted the lows at the end of 2022 and April lows. Okay, so let's take a look at those two. All right, viewer request. Here we go. Price difference from Trump tariffs here. We got IREN up 928%, Cypher's up 680%, Bitfarms up 586%, Hive 329, HUT 8 273, Riot 176, Cleanspark 174. Then you got BitDR up 112, Core up 124, Marathon up 79, Bitcoin 26%. Okay, from the beginning of the bottom of the cycle that we had here, which was basically at the end of December of 2022 and more or less January of 2023 here, we can see that IREN is up 5,745%, Cypher up 3,164%. So if you bought in at that time at the bottom, you are doing really, really well right now. All right, HUT 8 is up 1,121%. Cleanspark up almost 1,000%. They're 993. Bitfarms up also quite nicely here, up 1,279%. And then you got a bunch of these guys in the 500% range. Riot, Bitcoin, even Marathon is outperforming Bitcoin a little bit here. Core is only up 450%, and Hive still lagging behind at 352. BitDR at that point was not trading. They didn't go public until, was it 2023 or 2024? I can't remember on that one. So there's your two time frames that you want to take a look at. Yeah, the miners are doing fantastically here from where we were. Going back. All right. I think this is Carlisle. I think I'm pronouncing this right. Hi, Seb. Can you look into Iron Mountain, IRM? The company has been around for 75 years and has AI HPC ready data centers. Iron Mountain, don't they also have like document storage facilities that are like in caves or something like that? I thought I remember seeing something about them. Let me see. Let's take a look at IRM. See what's going on with them really quick. Pull them up in here on my charts. IRM. Iron Mountain. Is it IRM? Where are they traded at? Okay, here's what I'm seeing here for Iron Mountain. Let's see here. Go over here. Is it IRME? No, that's not it. IRMV. Iron Mountain Inc. IRM1. Stock BIVA. Where is that traded at? All right. Maybe I'm missing the complete. Let me see if I can find maybe Iron Mountain. Iron Mountain. What ticker symbol does it actually have here? All right, there's a lot of these things. Is it IRM1? We'll take a look at that one. Okay, close that. IRM1. Is this thing... okay, that's weird. That's probably not it. $1,789. It's down. and not much data on that one. What the heck? Did that one just go public here or something? All right, this is one that I did not follow or have not followed them at all. So if you have a better ticker symbol on that one, I'll definitely take a look at it here. But that is a no bueno. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, John, question. I have one buy remaining, Cypher, Cleanspark, or split them. Two huge winners going forward. Mike Alford, as you guys know, has Cypher number 2 spot and Cleanspark number 3 spot there. So take it for what it's worth there. I think maybe split. I don't know. That's going to be your call on that one. That's not an easy call to make there right now. NG, what does Bitfarms got to do in the long term to hit similar price levels as IREN? Do a reverse split. They have a lot of shares. They have 500 million shares. IREN has 280 million shares, so about half of what Bitfarms has out there. So that's what would have to happen there. Or they turn everything that they have right now, as far as megawatts and future megawatts, into HPCI, and then maybe we could see them at that point. Those prices there. All right. Brad, question. Did you buy the Shelby Cobra yet with the license plate THXBTC? You promised. Not yet, no. If I make it enough in the stocks that I'm in, or crypto even, if I make enough gains on it, I may end up doing that, spending, $40,000, $50,000 on that Shelby Cobra at that point. But not right now. I'm still haven't sold anything, so I'm not buying anything. Delayed gratification, right? So I am holding on to everything, delay the gratification later on, and then eventually I will be able to do that, potentially pay off my house, pay off all the debt that I have, and live a debt-free life, and have a nice car to drive, and pick up my kids from school at that point. So, but that's still on my to-do list, want list, when things, down the road here. We're still probably looking at least half a year to a year out. All right, Garrett asks a question. Why do you think none of the people who were posting miners are dead and selling in March and April haven't come back to congratulate you and those who have held? I mean, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, right? I mean, it wasn't easy going through that. I admit it wasn't easy. It was tough, but you have to know what you own. You have to have conviction, which I believe I did have. And I do have still. A lot of you guys also. And then there were people that, for whatever reason, didn't believe that scenario or didn't believe that would play out this way. And it was based on Bitcoin mining, which I think was also part of it here. We're dealing now more HPCI than Bitcoin itself. I mean, we can see that today. Bitcoin was down, miners were still up. So it's obviously the narrative has changed around these guys here. It's now megawatts, not Bitcoin mined. So I think that's the main reason why, which helped us out tremendously. Because if it wasn't for that, I don't know if the miners would have been doing as well as they have been, with Bitcoin being, kind of up a little bit to flat for the year, which is not what we expected here. So, I wish them no ill will there. They might have been right on Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners for the most part. And the thing that saved us was probably HPCI. So I'm happy for that, to be honest. But, we were talking about these guys with having more and more megawatts and growing. And that kind of helped us out to figure out which miners might do very, very well with the growth that they were seeing in Bitcoin mining. And then those megawatts can then be used for both, which is a nice, happy surprise at the same time. All right. Andrea, congratulations on your success, Sebastian. You deserve to make millions, and I hope you do. Thank you for helping all of us to work smart, reach our personal goals. Awesome. Thank you, and you're very welcome there. Seb is a beautiful man. I appreciate that. Andrea 100% agrees. Carl, Seb, been listening quite a while, and with the exception of Wolf, had a lot of that, but sold a few months ago. I have followed your recommendations, turned 224,000 into 2.1 million as of today. Awesome. That is really, really nice. Congratulations there. It wasn't because of me. It was because of you, right? You did the investigations. You did the due diligence. You did the many, many hours of watching, whether it was my stream, other streams as well. Don't take that away from yourself. That is completely on you there, to doing all of that research and doing the hard work to get into these things, and working out quite nicely for you there. So congratulations on that. All right, Steven, Sebastian, could you start covering Applied? Great company in the AI space, I believe. We do cover them every once in a while if something happens there with them, if they get a deal or something like that. And maybe we will add them into our list as well, because we're obviously seeing more and more miners not including their production updates monthly. So that list is getting smaller and smaller here. So we may, in a way, be forced to include some of these other players as well. All right, Senketh, have 2,000 plus shares of CAN. What are the price targets, levels to look out for in coming days? Okay, well, we can look at the chart there on CAN and see where it has been, where it's gone in the past. And see, it's a small miner. Small miner over here. Let's go to here. All right, so Canon, I mean, it was up much higher. Obviously, it was at 327 here back in December of last year, right? So it still has a ways to go. Price points as far as ones to look out for, the ones I can see here right now, I'm trying to see if there's anything. 215 I would be watching out for. Also, let me see if there's something right around here. 225, and then after that, I mean, you're obviously going up much higher in price, and they were higher in price at that point as well. Let's take a look at the weekly here. I mean, wow, okay, that was $39. I don't think, when was that? That was in 2021. Okay. So it's got a long ways to go from that. On the weekly here, we can see, okay, let's draw a line really quick on this one. No, I didn't want that. I wanted a line. Where's my line? I don't draw lines enough. Here it is. Okay. So if we take the tops here on these things on the weekly and apply them to here, if we can break past somewhere around here, 292, so basically around $3, we might be, clear sailing for much higher prices. But those kind of levels I can be looking out for. At least short term, at least. Not technical advice or financial advice at this point. Okay. Let's go back here. All right. Guy, what ATM dilution means for Cleanspark at 24? It's not ATM. It's not at the market offering. It's the dilution on the convertible notes there. I'm not sure what that dilution amount is going to be. It's going to be a couple million shares, maybe tens of millions of shares, but nothing major, I think, at that point. So it's not the ATM that's going to be getting triggered. Alan, Charlie Kirk autographed hats are selling for over 5,000 on eBay, and collectors believe they could be worth millions someday, like Martin Luther King's autographs. Could be, right? He's definitely had a very, very large following. And yeah, it's unfortunate that his life was ended prematurely, too quickly. I think we would have loved to see where he goes, beyond what he's done already. Guy, and how Cleanspark dilution affects shareholders at $24. Like I said, it's going to be several million shares, maybe a couple of tens of millions of shares, but it shouldn't be massive at that point. All right, Rob, Hive had a weak finishing day today. It opened 45 lower than the previous day's close, and end of day was 692. I would love to see this get over $8. It's coming, I believe. Just be patient there. Daryl, hello, Sip, have been missing the live chats, but still watching and hitting the likes. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Daryl, for that. True Rebel Production Super Chat. Thank you so much for the $5 tip there. Bitfarms prove that, quote, market takes you through hell before going to heaven. Thanks. That is true. Yeah. Thanks for the tip there. Daryl, why hasn't IREN reported the BTC production for September? They're not going to report them. They provided their update on, what was it, for the convertible notes, I think, in that. And they said that they are basically not going to provide those going forward anymore. Basically because they're transitioning to HPCI more so. They reached their 50 exahash target there, so there's really not much growth for them happening in Bitcoin mining side. And yeah, there's not much to report on that. There are 50 exahash. There might be some fluctuations in that from time to time when they move things out of one site to another site or something like that. But yeah, so I understand that. I mean, Bitfarms has stopped providing that as well. CORZ Scientific has stopped providing that. Hut 8, well, obviously Hut 8 is now American BTC doing that. I don't know even if American BTC is providing those. TerraWolf has stopped, so we're definitely seeing more and more of these guys here. It seems to be the trend here, unfortunately. Daryl, why? Okay, we talked about that one already. Let's see. Sadie, thanks so much for the likes. Yes, they definitely do help the channel there. Daryl, question: what miners are currently the most undervalued? If we look at what I have here, and let's see here, enterprise metrics. Maybe if we look at the enterprise metrics, this can kind of give you at least a little bit of a hint on it. So if we look at that, we can see Hive here still being only valued 64 million per exahash. And the current hash rate and future hash rate as well, 56 million there. After that, you got BitDR now at 88 million. At one point, we had BitDR being valued the most out of these guys here just a couple months back, if you recall. So that has definitely changed quite dramatically for them. I think I made up a new word, dramatically. Okay, I made up a new word, dramatically. Maybe it is a word, dramatically. Other than that, you got still Marathon's quite a bit under there. Cleanspark even, right? Still kind of low in line with these guys, even though they're generating a heck of a lot of revenue and they're going into HPCI. So that's another one. If we included Bitfarms in here, I think Bitfarms would be pretty low on that as well. So those are the ones I'd be kind of keeping an eye on those at least. Right? I've always gone into ones that are great in operations, great in performances, things like that. And then if they're way undervalued on these kind of things, this is the ones that I want to possibly get into or buy more into at that point. Okay. All right. Let's get into here. Got a lot more questions to get through here. All right. Hard Knocks. I seriously think Mara, Riot, and Cleanspark could see 50 plus in the coming months. It is possible, I think. Mara, right now is questionable for me, but we'll see. All right. Daryl, IREN stopped monthly reports. Yes, they did. Umer, hi sub, you are doing an excellent job. Do you think Bitfarms will continue the shares buyback plan at this share price? I think it may result in burning cash reserves of $330 million they have. No, they said that they're going to be doing only like 50 million in shares buyback total, I think it was. Or was it 50 million shares in total? Right now, well, they said if the stock, if they feel the stock is undervalued from where they think, they would be buying it back. And I think right now with the stock being above $5, I don't think they'll be buying it back right now. All right, let's see. Need price target. Canon. Not sure on that one. BitDeer should be a little bit higher, probably around 30 some odd dollars right now as it is. Let's see. Rob, question: what is the difference between Soluna Holdings and Soluna? Is Soluna like Bitcoin and Ethereum XRP? Yeah. So Soluna, there's Soluna, the Bitcoin miner and data center player, and then there's also Soluna, which is an altcoin basically. More in line with Ethereum there. All right, let's see. Daryl, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the $50 tip there. Appreciate all of your work, hard work as always. You have really helped me amplify my gains. That's awesome. That's very kind of you. Thank you for that. Gary, do you think Rex Finance is leading Cleanspark project to 60 access by the end of the year or leading their HPCI plans for 20? Neither of those. He's in the finance part of it, isn't he? From what I understand. So he's not, he might have some input there as far as when they have meetings and things like that, as far as that stuff. But as if you guys recall, Rex was kind of negative on HPCI. So I don't think he's having much input on that one there. AJ, is BTC still attached with mining stocks? Right now, the last, I would say, couple of weeks, doesn't seem like it. Or at least the mining stocks have decoupled from Bitcoin and more so on the AI potential there. All right. What else we got here? John, what's Riot's October 29th announcement? If they have an HPCI deal, could the price 2x? I think it's going to be, if they already put something out for the 29th, it's going to be probably their quarterly results. They were pretty early to provide those also for Q2, which we obviously just finished Q3 here. So I think it might be for that. All right. Temi Dio, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Question, do you think DMG could be an undiscovered HPCI gem? Management appears to be targeting the Canadian defense government sectors for AI infrastructure. They're not the only ones. Hive is also targeting that as well, right? Hive is partnering with Bell Canada and some other Canadian companies as well. So, and Hive has a much larger market cap right now as it is than DMG, but DMG could surprise us. So I would say never on that one. All right, Navid, not a question, but just wanted to say thank you. Got in IREN at 11, sold at 33, rotated into Cleanspark at 13, sold at 22, now rotated into Bitfarms at 4.5, and seeing what I can stomach. Love ya, bro. I love you too. Well, that's awesome to see. I would have liked to have seen you hold on to IREN even longer. Would have had nicer gains there, but I understand, right? Profit is profit, and you've been doing a great job here rotating as it is. So, very nice. All right, now for the real question. If and when going into a bear market, will you keep making vids? I would love to rinse and repeat next cycle, and your insights and conviction helped me a lot this one. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, if we have a bear market, I'll be here. If we don't have a bear market, I'll be here as well. Like I've said before here, as you guys know, I think we might be in an extended cycle with Bitcoin. And then AI, we'll have to wait and see how much of an extended cycle we're going to get with that, though. But right now, all things are pointing to running hot on all 8 cylinders here. All right, Kendall, question, what are your thoughts on Hive? Exahash compared to TeraWulf is very interesting. Yet TeraWulf is a $6 billion company with half of Hive's. Okay, so TeraWulf is being valued on their AI. side of things, the deal that they have with Core 42 along with FluidStack and being backed by Google there. So that's the valuation where that's coming from. But yes, I believe Bitfarms has doubled the exahash of what Hive TeraWulf is going to have. So, but Hive doesn't have nowhere near the amount of contracts that TeraWulf has. Okay, so that's the reason why. All right. What's the next hottest industry beside HPCI to invest in? I think energy is going to be one of those. Also, if you can get into, there's not much. I mean, there's quite a few companies in quantum computing as well. And then space, eventually space, I think is going to be massive. Really, really want to get in on with SpaceX because that thing, I mean, if they start mining asteroids, and there's gold on them, and asteroids, there's going to be a lot of money made there. Rare earth minerals and all that stuff as well. So, not to mention space fares between here and Mars and the moon. So a lot of money to be made there. I want to get into that. All right, that's going to be the next frontier of that. And just think about that. Elon Musk's SpaceX with the Starship taking Tesla robots basically to Mars to start colonizing Mars that way, to build the outposts, build the things that we need for humans to survive there. There's going to be a lot of demand for robots, which Tesla is doing as well. Right, follow what Elon is doing. Basically, is the playbook here a little bit. Okay. All right, got. What if Bitcoin pumps from 112 to 125 in a couple of weeks? Cleanspark will go crazy, and all other miners. Yeah, not so much. Again, like we're seeing here, Bitcoin going up doesn't really impact the miners as much as it has in the past because of all these guys getting into HPCI. So. Will it help? Yes, I think it will help, definitely. But when you Bitcoin to go to like 150, 175,000 in the next 3 months or something like that, that would be huge for them. That would be a huge benefit for like IREN, which is obviously mining with 50 exahash. They're going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue at that point, which they can use to then build out their HPCI data centers. So that would be a huge benefit there. All right. See, your mom's other guy. Cleanspark's up 3% overnight. Nice. Mortem, last year you thought IREN could hit 80 based on BTC, but it's going to happen now because of AI while BTC is anemic. Yeah. Yep. How surprised are you? Do you get a tailwind in BTC? Do we get a tailwind if Bitcoin starts running? I think we will. It will help, right? Especially if Bitcoin gets to 150, 175, 200,000, whatever it might be. That extra revenue the miners are going to be generating there is going to be huge for them to build out into HPCI things as well. And then also you got to think about it. Bitcoin is in an extended cycle where it just goes up more slowly, but it goes up over time, right? That will be really, really good for the miners because at that point they're going to be, or at least they should be profitable for an extended number of quarters than just the typical 2 to 3 quarters that we had in the past with cycles. And then they were beaten down to pulp. So that should help out there. All right, HB Eric Jackson, Open Guy tweeted about Hut 8, which caused the move up. That was also it, okay. Well, so we have him now, and we also have Anthony Pompliano in there as well. That remember that move when Anthony got into Hut 8 as well. That pumped the stock as well. Question, good time to sell Bitfarms or wait for rate cut and earnings report? I mean, if the earnings report is great, or maybe not great, but just good, but they provide some good guidance going forward with HPCI, the stock can run even more. So we saw that with IREN here. IREN obviously came out with pretty good quarter actually, and then they, the big thing that really ran it up was the confidence from management there on, increasing their HPCI business. So that's going to be your call on that one. I held through IREN. Could we get a dip on Bitfarms or any of these guys when they report? Yeah. But what is the long-term prospects for them? Where are they going to be in the next 3, 6, 12 months going forward? That's what's pushing them up forward there. All right. Rob, question. Do you think Gerard Cotton had anything to do with last Friday's crash? Don't know. Don't even know who that is. So I apologize there. Maybe I should know who that is. All right. Let's see. Morton, BMSG thinks IREN and Cypher could become meme stocks, which could mean crazy parabolic returns. Do you see that possibility? Meme stocks? Like Roaring Kitty type of thing? I don't think so, to be honest with you guys. No, I don't see that. Okay. Carlisle says Iron Mountain is traded on New York Stock Exchange ticker IRM. So I did look for IRM on that one. Let me see here. IRM. On the New York Stock Exchange, I see NASDAQ. I see IRM Energy Limited. I don't see it here for whatever reason. It's not popping up on my TradingView desk. I'll look into it, see what's going on there. All right, AJ, is BTC still attached to my? I talked about that one. No, not to the extent it has been in the past, I don't think. Michael, DGHI, Trump Media and Technology Group has accumulated approximately 2.x billion in Bitcoin and related assets, representing about 2/3 of its total. That's a lot. I saw that also earlier this week. SH, Bitfarms doesn't need to do a reverse split. Wrong assumption. There's hundreds of companies with more float traded more than IREN. Bitfarms can grow organically through acquisitions to get to IREN's. Okay. I did say that they could if they grow, obviously, their HPCI business, right? So there's two paths, grow or do a reverse split. I mean, you can get to those levels at that point. All right. Guy, I love you, Seb. Hope we meet someday in person. Maybe after we all win. We all can arrange a meetup with you where we can meet you and say thanks, lots of respect and love to you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we might do that, right? If things work out well for us, which they already are right now, and maybe next year, maybe we'll do. I was thinking maybe Nashville, or I was thinking maybe even Las Vegas when we have the Bitcoin conference. Maybe do a meetup there. We'll talk about it down the road though. Let's first make the millions that we're gonna make, and then we can figure out where we're gonna meet and celebrate at that point. Michael, I bought DGT since has 2 billion Bitcoins with other assets. Okay, nice. Gary, question is applied even a miner. I'd prefer you follow CoreWeave and Nimbus if you're picking non-miners to follow as they are neoclouds. Applied, well, my last recollection was that they were out of Bitcoin mining, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that was the case. All right. There's Malik. Short interest on Riot. We should be getting the update on that for the end of. Let me see if I got that here. Let me see if I got updated or not. But that information should be coming in here. Let me see Riot really quick on that short interest. 9:30, and the latest information that I have on the miners here for short interest is. Let's see here. Shorts. Where are the shorts? I got too many sheets. Let me see. Stats, dilution, weekly, break even, monthly, shorts. There it is. All right. My data is from 9:15. Okay, so we got the latest short data on these guys. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. That gives me something to talk about tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. All right. Oh, where are we at here? Close that. All right. Bevneat. Most undervalued miners, Bitfarms, Hive, Mars, Riot, Cleanspark. Yeah, Bitfarms, Hive for sure still. Mara, I would say even yes. Riot, a little less so. Cleanspark, yes. Right. D-Royce, a lot of smart people were putting a 150,000, 250,000 price target on Bitcoin. Time is not on their side. Yeah, I was saying 150,000 to 180,000 this year. It doesn't look like it's, well, unless we get a huge rally in the next couple of weeks. Right now, it's not panning out that way. We'll be lucky if we get to 140,000 here maybe by the end of the year. We'll see. Maybe we get all proven correct here or proven wrong. We'll see. All right. MIGI, considering how promising the future looks for IREN and other companies shifting towards AI, are you planning on keeping most of your positions and just sell a few shares to take profits? Yes. So that is the plan here. Still waiting a little bit longer on where the prices could go here. But eventually I will start taking small amounts here for none other reason than I need to pay a little bit for this renovation down in the basement here. I got some expenses coming up for the HVAC system, plumbing as well, and then obviously drywall and things like that I need to. I don't think I'm going to have enough funds from my regular job and everything else. So I may have to sell just a little bit, like maybe like 200 shares of IREN or something like that, or a couple other ones, 200 to 500 shares, something like that. But that's going to be still probably a couple of weeks down the road here at least. But that might be happening here. But in the meantime, I am holding on tight for all deal life there right now as it is. All right, Kev, do you believe Cleanspark and Bitfarms are long-term holds or a sell with BTC bear market cycle? Again, right, if we get a bear market, I'm not saying that we will. I think we might have an extended cycle with Bitcoin. So even if we do get a bear market, I think, so can they get HPCI business ahead of that? If they can, I think that will help. Or if they can at least articulate when they will be generating revenue from that and how much revenue, then I think they might be less susceptible to Bitcoin price going down. Okay. All right. Oh, that I cannot pronounce, so I do apologize. There. How important is the PE ratio when you invested in these stocks? Uh, it's a. I take a look at it a little bit just to kind of give me guidance as far as where I think they should be, right? Where I think they should be and where the market thinks they should be has been not like 1-to-1. For a long time, I obviously viewed these guys as being way undervalued here, and the market still way undervalued them for whatever reason. But eventually, the market started to realize what they had as far as potential, and they did get re-rated. And now we're more in line with what I'm seeing is kind of like the same thing that the analysts are seeing as well. So it's kind of a nice little validation at that point that at least my models were close to where I think they should have been valued, and it's the same thing that we're seeing with analysts. So it does help at least see which ones are still like more undervalued than others, and that kind of helped me rotate from time to time from these guys. All right, Rob's got a question here. Tom Lee just recently said that 250,000 is possible for BTC by the end of the year. Is that realistic or over optimistic? I mean, Bitcoin has gone on these huge rallies in the past. We haven't seen that yet this cycle, right? It's been more muted, to be honest. And I don't know if that's going to be a thing that continues going forward here, unless we do have, one more oomph to go this year. But I don't know. Right now, I would say it's a little bit over optimistic, maybe. All right. Gary, should the U.S. be scared Canada is working with AI companies for their defense? Any concerns they could attack the U.S.? No, because the U.S. has got also companies working on AI and things like that. So, and why would Canada attack the USA? They want to make it their 14th province, or what do they call those? I don't even know how many provinces they have, so I do apologize there on that. But yeah, I don't see that happening. Clarence, which miner has the best pipeline megawatt per market cap? That I don't know. I haven't done that metric. That's a good metric though to take a look at. Megawatts per mega. Are we including pipeline or the ones that they have already signed here on that one? That'd be something interesting here. Let me see here. All right, market cap. So we're looking at megawatts per market cap. Okay. Megawatts per MCAP. All right. Video. We'll do that one. That's interesting. We'll take a look at that. I'll pull the data on that. We have most of the data on the miners just already on as far as megawatts they have, so that might be easy to do. All right, MD, as far as the next hottest industry, have you bought any rare earth stocks? If so, which ones, i.e. USR or IDR? I looked into some of those when obviously the feud came out last week on those with China. They had a nice run up, but I haven't looked into them. The thing with rare earth minerals, yes, they will pop for a certain amount of time, but eventually you're going to be able to get a mining. You can probably increase mining, and then you can also increase capacity as far as you have to process them, right? Get that up and running. So, yeah, but they still should do pretty good here. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked much into them, though. All right, Mr. X, I saw a Facebook that Charlie is stocking up super heavy on gold, or China on gold. Is Bitcoin still banned in China? Should America just push that BTC treasury harder? It is, and yes, China is definitely stacking more Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, more gold there. Not only China, but other countries as well. All right, Bevney, is it a good time to buy Hive? End of year target. Can I get 2x out of them? Right now, my numbers here, if you look at my numbers, right, which are obviously not financial advice or anything like that, but if you look at where I have Hive right now and where they are, this is kind of what I'm seeing here for them. So let's see, let's go here. So currently based on their update for September, and I'm using a PE of 10, which is lower than most of these other guys here. And the reason for that is because they don't have any operations in the United States as far as data centers or Bitcoin mining sites or anything like that. Okay, so there's a little clarification on that. I have them right now between 934 and 1402. They're at 692 currently. So on the higher end, yes, we would probably get a double possible out of that one. Lower end, we're looking at 50%, somewhere around there. Something like that, okay? That's kind of where I would see them right now, unless they come out with some news that they got a major deal with a Canadian company or something like that for HPCI, right? Which they already came out and said they're working with Canadian BTC or Canadian BTC, Canada Bell there. All right, let's go back here. Let's see. We are going on an hour and 10 minutes already as it is. All right, let's see. Couple more questions here to catch up. Talk about that one. All right, Karan, how high you think Bitfarms Hive Hot 8 Galaxy can go by November? Oh gosh, I have no idea by November. It'll greatly depend on what's going on with, well, it'll be news based. So whatever news they do provide as far as growth and things like that, that will pump them up here. Recently, it's obviously pumping the whole sector up for AI as they're growing. So I don't know, but much higher from where they are right now. As far as much higher, could they be 20, 30% up higher from here? Possibly. Could it be even higher than that? Yes. All right, Rob, question. A lot of the BTC miner stocks are overbought with an RSI way above 70. Typically, one would sell, especially if it was 80 RSI or still hold. So the interesting part on the RSI is the RSI can be at certain times above the 70% mark or above the 70 mark and even higher at a point and still go on for many, many months above it before we see a substantial correction or something like that. So they can run hot, especially when you're in a very demanded space like they are in right now with megawatts. So I do look at that, but not always. When we're running hot on these things, they can run hotter for a longer period of time. I'll just leave it at that, I guess. All right. Pete LG, let's see a question. I'll be curious to know, what is your midterm take on MicroStrategy? It seems to drag its feet for the last 7 months, despite BTC doing great. Thank you for the super dramatic show today. Great info. All right, Pete, as far as, all right, here's my take on MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, I love the fact that they are buying up Bitcoin like crazy. I love that. I'm not a big fan of the company there because if I wanted to buy Bitcoin, I could just buy it myself. Now, so that brings me to a question is as far as what should their valuation be on the MNAV for the Bitcoin that they do hold? I think a little bit of a premium is fine, right? 1.1, something like that. But when they were trading last year at $540, they had an MNAV of like 3 or 4, maybe even higher at that point. And at that point, I saw, I'm like, this thing is getting overextended, overheated on that itself. It's got to come down, and it has come down. Now, since then, they have obviously purchased a heck of a lot more Bitcoin here, but they've also created other vehicles for people to get into, right? You got the one stock and strategy that's giving out dividends, paying out dividends, right, which is 10% or something like that, which is like SDRC or something. They just have so many other vehicles for people to get into the stock there, which I think diluted some of the appeal to the stock as well. So I don't know in the short term how well it will do. I think if Bitcoin does go up, I think it will go up as well. But I don't know if we're going to see those huge moves like we saw last year or the years before as well. But that's just my take. I could be wrong on that. Okay. All right. Mr. X question, are you using any leverage or... Oh, no. All straight shares. I do not do that. These plays historically, the miners have been, a leverage play on Bitcoin. I don't need any more leverage on top of that. I want to at least sleep during the night and not fear of getting liquidated. So I have never done leverage or margin or anything like that. That is just whatever I've been able to afford to buy into these things. That's what I did. I just bought shares to sleep nice and sound at that point. All right. Rob says, Gerard Cotton was the CEO owner of Quadriga CX. The company was fraudulent, where the trading platform was fake and he was stealing money behind the scenes. He later died of colitis while in India. Something reminds me of that. I'm not sure. Rob Wang also here, and many say he faked his own death because after his death there was movement in the account concerning BTC and he was the only one that knew the password. Oh yeah, that's right. That's going back to 2022, I think, right? Back to that. I remember hearing something about that. All right, Defi says, IREN 200 end of November. How are we? Kits selling, LOL. Kits, who's kits selling? Now, how are we not selling? We're fine not selling it right now. We're doing great. Mr. X, do you think it may be best BTC doesn't jump too fast to 180 by end of year, in case everyone started profit taking, which may tank BTC down, causing more panic selling? Possibly, right? If we just have a continuation of a nice general uptrend in Bitcoin, that might be a better thing than a parabolic top and then a blow off top, right? So yeah, that might be a better way to go about it. And that's how we may end up actually getting an extended cycle in Bitcoin. Okay. Let's see here. Xing, 5,000, trim 25% of my Bitfarms. Very nice. So you're nicely profit there. Finally, like all of us. Mr. X, is short interest in Mara on Cleanspark finally coming down significantly? We'll take a look at that tomorrow. Data is out, so I will update you guys on that tomorrow. Xing, can bring myself to trim 25% Cleanspark like I said I would, though. All right, you're holding on tight there. That's awesome. More Tim, how do you feel about IBIT as a vehicle for BTC exposure? I think it's, to be honest, I think it might be a better way than going in with MicroStrategy. And I think eventually you might be able to get in-kind redemption on it as well. So they would give you Bitcoin back. I believe that that is being worked on. So that'd be a good way. I think it's an easier way to do it than trying to get it off Coinbase or on Gemini or any other exchange that you can buy it at. And then if you, obviously I don't recommend people holding it on exchanges. So best thing to do would be obviously to get a cold storage hardware or hardware wallet or something like that. And that's not always easy. I mean, it's gotten a lot better than it has been in the years past, but it's still, for somebody that's non-techie, you know, think about your grandparents or somebody like that, or your mom and dad or whatever. You know, that's a little bit more challenging for them, I think. So IBIT, I think, is a great way to get exposure. And then you can also get IBIT, I think, through retirement accounts and things like that. So it's an easy on-ramp there. That's why we're seeing IBIT do so well this year. The past year and a half or whatever it's been. Victor, are we expecting a good earnings forecast Cypher? I don't know if they'll be EPS positive just yet. Their hash rate has been growing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to cover all the costs there. All right. XVexed, Ben, Bitfarms said an announcement is likely going to be coming from their operations on the West Coast. It didn't sound very far off as Panther Creek is. I wouldn't be selling Bitfarms anytime soon. Okay, very nice. Crown Super sticker chat, tip here, $6.99. Thank you so much. Fan character laughing out loud with tears in their eyes. All right. Thank you for that so much. Abhilash, may be all the money is going to AI, so Bitcoin may not be getting pushed it did in the past. That could be also part of it. Yeah. Plus, you have so many more on-ramps for Bitcoin right now, right? You got MicroStrategy, you got Metaplanet, you got the ETFs. There's just more ways to get on it than in the past. All right, True Production. I think institutions are buying miners, and it's just the part of their diversified portfolio, and market cap is very low. That's why miners pumping. That's part of it as well, I think. Roy, hey Seb, been with you for years now. Just wanted to say thank you, and that you're live is on my early morning, so I usually watch in an hour afterwards. Okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you for being here for so long. One more thing is really wish that DR Lewis would be with us in this times. Yeah, I do miss DR Lewis. DR Lewis, if you guys recall, was on X. It was great host on Spaces and things like that. We do have Blake Lewis, which is his son, now taking part in this as well, which is awesome to see. But yeah, definitely do miss DR Lewis. DR Lewis was a wonderful man. So definitely highly missed for sure. All right, Trouble Guy, question. Seems like the all-new shift to AI HPC is still early and the miners can sustain with new contracts and grow. Your thoughts? Thanks. Yes, I do believe that as well. MD, if and when there is trade deal announced with the U.S. and China, that alone could pop the miners exchange 25% a day. Yeah, hold. I agree there. Michael, DJT should be trading much higher, having almost 2 billion Bitcoin in assets. I don't even know what it's trading right now, to be honest with you. DGT Trump Media and Technology Group has acquired, I talked about that already, over 2 billion in Bitcoin there. MD, would you agree that Cleanspark is now trading along the same lines as HUT and IREN in the last 3 weeks? Do you agree? Is Mara next? Yeah, it's definitely the change in narrative for them, also the change in communication that they are looking for HPCI has helped. So yes, I would agree with you there. And is Mara next? I think Mara has to come out with something more concrete on their HPC AI ambitions. But yeah. Okay, let's see. Stefan, this channel needs to pump NVM, BTC. Love the content. Keep it up. Great. Thank you so much. NVM, does that mean never mind Bitcoin? Never mind Bitcoin? Robbing, can a pure Bitcoin mining company know AI, HPC? No, they're also looking to get into HPC, I believe. I believe I saw something this week or last week. I can't remember. But I think there was something there. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Okay. And then let's see. Last comment here. Bitcoin can drop to 107,000, 106,000 is a major support to bounce off these levels that DJT can do the math to know shares should trade much higher if you do the math correct. Yeah, I mean, if you, yeah, whatever they're, well, here's the funny thing, right? The miners, like Marathon, has a huge amount of HODL, so they're either not being valued on their HODL position or their operation position. So it can be where they get off the lopsided, I guess. Question: some analysts say this is AI bubble. Is that really true? Lots of CEOs say AI is true and not a bubble, including Bezos. I do not believe this is a bubble. If you recall, dot-com bubble, the dot-com bubble was based on a bunch of companies that had dot-com names attached to them, and their valuations were going up huge, with no real revenues or generating revenue from that dot-com business. Okay, this time around it's completely different. You have companies, Google, obviously Amazon, Oracle, OpenAI as well, where they are generating huge revenue off of AI data centers and things like that. So the revenue's already coming in. They just are seeing so much demand for it that they need to build out more. Okay, so that's the difference there on it right now as it is. Okay. Mortim, thank you so much. 49.98 from Mortim for the super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you, all you guys that have tipped today. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. But we're going to call it a day here because we're going on an hour and 30 minutes here roughly of talking, and I still need to go to bed and get some sleep to go to my regular 9-to-5 job. All right. That's it. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully these miners and AI plays continue to run for us, and you guys make it big. You guys can retire at the end of this, right? After having pretty rough 3 years with the miners. So this is all very well reserved, I think, for everybody here. All right. Love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then.